It's been a long journey getting to this day, October 16th, 2025, but we are here in the English countryside, about an hour and a half outside of London, and the verdict is in. We've been quiet, listening to liars continue to lie and keeping to ourselves, living and loving our life, as we said, leaving everything in God's hands and letting our lawyer do the talking. But according to the courts, trying to ruin my name and trying to bring harm to my family in a book filled with lies equals $8.8 million. And this is just the beginning, because anyone and everyone that helped promote these lies will hear from my lawyer in the days to come. No weapon formed against us shall.
Brian McKnight is officially canceled, no matter how good he sings the songs, whatever, he's canceled. But as of today, he has recently posted that he won the settlement against the mother of his older children, Nico and BJ. But the case was, about contacting Nico and everything. And it's crazy because today, if you don't know, Nico has died of cancer. And today is his birthday. And so he decided to post that he won the settlement and all of them was liars. And it's just so distasteful to even post something like that and laugh and brag. Y'all, it's on his Instagram. I'm not going to link it or add because it's weird. He's a weirdo. It's literally disgusting as just a human being and as any type of father, whether you had a relationship with them or not, whether you wanted it or not, it's just terrible because yes, you won the settlement, but your child is dead. Like, you won't be able to get that back. And at some point, you have to give it up. Like, at some point, the pride, the arrogance needs to stop. Like, I don't even know what to say.
Do not text Nico again. Do not call Nico again. Leilani, if you are also checking these messages, that goes for you as well. I am very serious about this. I am very serious about this. Do not text him, period. Period. Please understand that. And Brian, you know me. You know me. And you know that I'm...
Okay, we seriously need to talk about Brian McKnight, because this right here is wild. Yesterday, Brian went online and dropped a whole video bragging that he just won an $8.8 million lawsuit against his ex-wife, Julie McKnight. The lawsuit was over the book she wrote, spilling all kinds of personal tea about him, putting their private life out there for the world to see. The book's called Mama Bear, beautifully blended, and now Brian's out here talking about how liars gonna lie, claiming this is only the beginning because he's coming after everyone who stood by her. But here's where it gets dark. People in the comments weren't even focused on the lawsuit. They were furious because Brian decided to post that victory video on the birthday of his late son, Nico. The same son he reportedly disowned and refused to reconcile with even when the boy was fighting cancer. And what makes it even sadder, Nico had allegedly reached out multiple times, begging to fix things with his dad before he passed. So imagine that, on the very day that should have been about remembering his son, Brian McKnight was online celebrating himself. Like, who does that? It's honestly disgusting. Brian really chose his deceased son's birthday to post a victory lap video celebrating a lawsuit against Nico's own mother. Like, what kind of timing is that? So I went digging into the actual court records because Brian told everyone to check the facts, right? Well, I did. And the numbers just aren't adding up. The case is filed in Wake County, North Carolina, and yes, it's all public record. Anyone can look it up. Brian sued Julie for defamation back in May, claiming her book, Mama Bear, beautifully blended, damaged his reputation. But here's what he didn't mention in that video. Julie never even responded to the lawsuit. She didn't file a single document, didn't show up to court, nothing. When that happens, the person suing can request what's called a default judgment, which basically means, hey judge, they didn't respond, so just give me the win. It's legal, but it's not the same as winning after presenting evidence and arguments. It's more like a technical victory because the other person didn't participate. So on September 16th, the judge did grant that default judgment. But here's where things get interesting. The official court notes clearly say, details of default judgment are under advisement. In plain language, that means the final amount hasn't even been decided yet. So the big $8.8 million win Brian was proudly announcing online, it's not officially confirmed, at least not yet. Now let's look at what's actually in the filings. In his original complaint from May, Brian requested compensatory damages of no less than $25,000 and punitive damages of no less than $25,000. That's a minimum of $50,000 total, not $8.8 million. The document does include a line saying, or in such additional amount to be proven at trial, but here's the problem. There was no trial. Julie never responded, so the case skipped straight to default. So if there was never a trial and no official number is listed in the judgment yet, where exactly is Brian getting that $8.8 million figure from? Because as far as the public record shows, there's no sign of it anywhere. And even now, the court record still doesn't show any finalized amount. Considering Brian just posted that victory video yesterday, I'll be fair. Maybe the system hasn't updated yet. Sometimes court clerks take a few days, even weeks, to upload new documents. But here's where it gets suspicious. I went through every single thing in those public records, every motion, every note, every hearing update. And that $8.8 million figure appears nowhere, not one trace of it. So unless something dropped overnight that nobody's seen yet, it's really starting to look like Brian McKnight might be celebrating a number that doesn't officially exist, at least not on paper. And that's what's raising eyebrows, because the way he announced it online made it sound like the court had just confirmed a massive win. But when you line up the paperwork, none of it supports that claim. Let's break it down clearly, because this part matters. When a lawyer files a lawsuit, they're legally required to say how much money they're seeking. There are only two ways to do that. Either you ask for a specific dollar amount, like we're suing for $5.5 million, or you set a minimum number and leave the door open to go higher, something like not less than $5 million. That's how most big money cases are written. So if Brian's legal team actually believed this was an $8.8 million case, that figure, or something close to it, would have been listed right from day one. You'd see it written as not less than $8.8 million, or at least not less than $1 million. But that's not what's there. The complaint only says not less than $25,000 for compensatory damages and not less than $25,000 for punitive damages. Let's translate that into plain English. Brian's lawyers saw this case as being worth maybe $50,000 total, possibly $100,000 if the judge went above and beyond. But millions? Not even close. And that tells you everything about how they valued the case from the start. So if this $8.8 million number isn't in the filings, not in the judgment, and not in any hearing notes, then where exactly did it come from? That's the $1 million, or should I say $8.8 million question. So if this case was truly worth $8.8 million, that figure would have appeared somewhere, anywhere, in the original filing. The fact that it's missing says a lot, which raises the question, where did Brian get that $8.8 million number from? Either there are sealed documents we can't access yet, or Brian McKnight might have just pulled that number out of thin air. Now, I'm not saying he didn't win, because technically, yes, he did. Julie never responded, so the judgment automatically went to him. But as of now, nothing in the public court record supports an $8.8 million win. Maybe those sealed documents exist, but until we see proof, it's looking real questionable. But seriously, if someone sued you for $8.8 million for defamation, would you just not show up? Like, be for real, who ignores something that major? We're not talking about a parking ticket here. That's life-changing money. You'd hire a lawyer, file a response, show up to court, something. Because if you don't, you're basically handing the other person an automatic win on a silver platter and letting them walk away with the bag. It's the legal equivalent of forfeiting the game before it even starts. That's why this whole thing feels off. If Julie truly believed the lawsuit was unfair or exaggerated, why didn't she respond? And if she really didn't care, why would Brian go this hard online, claiming such a massive victory? The silence on both ends raises more questions than answers. But honestly, the part that hits the hardest isn't even the legal mess. It's the timing. Brian McKnight didn't just post that video to flex his win. He dropped it on the birthday of his late son, Nico, the same son he reportedly refused to reconcile with, even while Nico was battling cancer. That day could have been a quiet moment of remembrance, a simple post honoring his child's memory. But instead, it turned into a public celebration of a lawsuit against Nico's mother. And if that wasn't bad enough, he's out here bragging about an $8.8 $8.8 million judgment that doesn't even exist in the court filings. It's one thing to want justice, but it's another to turn a painful family history into a social media victory lap. It's not just tone deaf, it's cold. The whole situation leaves this strange, uneasy feeling like something deeper is going on, because no matter how you look at it, the timing, the tone, and the missing paperwork all paint a picture that's less about legal justice and more about ego. This is the same man who's already been in headlines for years over his public fallout with his biological kids, and now this? It's beyond messy. It's heartbreaking. But I want to hear from you. What do you think about this whole situation? Is Brian just twisting the truth for attention, or is there more to the story we haven't seen yet? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with someone who's been following the drama, because this story just keeps getting wilder. See you in the next video.